Ford just rehired 350 engineers it thought AI could replace. Klarna is quietly hiring back the humans it replaced with AI. IBM tripled its entry-level hiring after its own AI system couldn't handle the job end-to-end. If you're an engineer, that changes what AI replaces you actually means. It's August 2026 and this is Sunny on AI. Let's skip the anecdotes and go straight to the numbers. Robert Half, one of the largest staffing and recruiting firms in the world, surveyed roughly 2,000 US hiring managers. Out of those 2,000, 32% of managers who cut a role because of AI had already rehired for that same role, or something very close to it, including 32% in tech specifically. It's not just Robert Half saying this. Other independent research points to the same pattern, with one workforce survey finding that 39% of business leaders cut staff specifically because of AI, and 55% of that group later admitting it was a mistake. Gartner is now predicting that by 2027, half of all AI-driven cuts will be reversed. But let's be honest, this isn't AI layoffs are over. Microsoft cut roughly 4,800 roles in July alone. Oracle cut over 20,000 this year. Companies are cutting and rehiring at the same time, sometimes inside the very same organization. Companies didn't stop hiring because of AI, they just started hiring differently. And you can see that shift across customer service, HR, and finance, but nowhere more than in engineering. Let's start with Ford, because their story comes with real proof, not just a claim. Over the last 3 years, Ford brought back and promoted 350 veteran engineers after automated quality systems, including a fleet of AI cameras on the line, kept missing defects, experienced engineers caught immediately. Ford's VP of Vehicle Hardware Engineering, Charles Poon, said it plainly on a Bloomberg call. Mistakenly, we thought that by just introducing artificial intelligence and ingesting the design requirements that we had, that would produce a high-quality product. That's a direct admission the AI-first approach didn't work. CEO Jim Farley said those engineers are contributing hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of a tailwind. But here's the irony. Jim Farley is the one who once predicted AI would replace half of all white-collar jobs. His own numbers just proved otherwise, at least for engineering. So what this story actually tells us is that AI alone produced a worse product than AI paired with experienced human judgment. So let's get specific. What exactly goes wrong when AI works without any expert human judgment? The pattern shows up again and again. AI is very good at producing something that looks correct, syntactically clean, confidently written, and much worse at knowing when it's about to do real damage, because it's predicting what comes next, not actually understanding the consequences of what it's doing. It doesn't know when to stop, flag uncertainty, or ask a human before acting on something irreversible. And here's one real example of that. In 2025, Replit's AI coding agent deleted a live production database during an active code freeze, ignored explicit instructions not to touch it, and then initially claimed the deletion couldn't be undone. Its own CEO called the incident unacceptable. It's a single case, but it's the same failure showing up at a bigger scale. Judgment that a human would have exercised automatically just wasn't there. Sonar surveyed over 1,100 developers in January. AI-generated code is now 42% of what gets committed, headed to 65% by 2027. But 96% of developers don't fully trust that AI-generated code is correct. AWS's CTO has a name for that gap. He calls it verification debt. There's a control study that makes this concrete. METR ran a randomized trial with 16 experienced developers on 246 real tasks. They predicted AI would speed them up 24%. It actually slowed them down 19%. And even after finishing, they still believed they'd been faster. Before going further, I want to give a quick disclosure. Some of this data comes from vendors like Sonar, companies that sell tools which benefit from AI code is risky being the story. Treat it as a signal, not gospel. But independent sources converging on the same pattern, more code, less verification, is hard to wave away. AI can absolutely write good code. What it can't replace yet is someone who understands architecture and long-term maintainability. So what looks done might still be broken. Same gap Ford hit, but in a different domain. And that gap is showing up across the industry. Boilerplate heavy work is shrinking. The question is, what's replacing it? System architecture, debugging across service boundaries when production breaks, security review, deep domain expertise AI doesn't have access to, and something researchers now call context design, structuring your code base and your prompts so AI actually performs well inside them. One role is worth knowing specifically, and unlike a lot of AI job titles floating around right now, this one didn't exist in any form before generative AI. Evals Engineer. Their job is to build the test suites and scoring systems that tell a company whether an AI system actually got better or quietly got worse. In plain terms, they are professional verifiers, the exact discipline Sonar's data says is missing. You don't need that exact title, but the skill profile it represents, technical depth plus the judgment to direct and verify AI instead of just prompting it, is what Ford rehired for, what Sonar's data says is missing, and what I called the orchestrator. Same shift showing up in hiring data, quality metrics, and survey after survey. So if that's the skill profile companies are actually paying for, here's how to find out where you stand against it. Pull up a real Evals Engineer job posting or any senior AI adjacent engineering role and read it thoroughly. Score yourself honestly against what it actually asks for. System architecture, security judgment, the ability to direct and verify AI instead of just prompting it. Be honest about where you actually stand right now. Write down every gap you find. Don't rank them yet, just get them all on paper. Then start closing them one at a time, beginning with whichever one feels the biggest right now. This isn't about becoming a different kind of engineer overnight. It's about knowing exactly where you stand instead of guessing, and having an actual plan instead of vague anxiety about AI coming for your job. That clarity alone puts you ahead of most people who are just watching AI tutorial videos. And this isn't about learning to prompt better. It's about closing one real gap at a time. Because that discipline, knowing what you don't know and actually fixing it, is what's getting people rehired right now. Not speed, not shortcuts. Okay, so here's my honest take on this, and it's something I've said in a few of my previous videos too. AI changed what makes an engineer valuable, not whether engineers are needed, and companies are paying hundreds of millions to get that judgment back on their teams. And here is my prediction. Within 18 months, the skill of verifying AI output becomes a bigger hiring filter than any framework on your resume. Companies won't ask if you can use AI. They'll ask if you can catch what it gets wrong. Drop a comment if you think I've got this wrong. Meanwhile, the smartest move isn't panicking about AI, it's making sure you're the engineer worth hiring. If this kind of no-hype, fact-check breakdown is useful to you, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care.